Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Suffer Up Podcast with Nate and Ryan. If you are listening on Apple, Spotify, or whatever, go over to our YouTube channel because we are now going to try to do more video recordings so you can actually watch this recording live. Or if you don't want to see our ugly faces, you can just continue to listen to this podcast where you are at. So thank you for tuning in to this episode today that we have for you. Before we get started with the recording today, we want to give just a couple quick announcements as well as a couple recognitions to our sponsors. So before we get started, we have launched the application window for our event that we have coming up called Unbreakable Purpose.
Oh, yeah.
A 24-hour wilderness crucible challenge, if you will, for men.
Men's event.
I had a couple questions this week about it from some people who had been following.
Yeah.
We're advertising it as a Christian men's event.
Mm-hmm.
However, it is basic. You're going to learn practical leadership, mindset, skills, if you will, but there is a Christian emphasis. But if you're not a believer or don't follow or don't go to church or anything like that, you are very much welcome. Yeah. Just know that you will be fed some spiritual wisdom throughout the event. So just want to make that clear and known for our listeners as well. So, but if you want to challenge yourself mentally, physically, spiritually,
it's a good way to do it.
It is. So application window will be live until August 8th. So you can go over to the link in the description of this podcast and click on it, apply. It's basically just the waiver preemptively, a little bit about you, why you signed up for it. But the whole mission and goal behind this is to help you find your unbreakable purpose and be able to sharpen and refine you as an individual, whether that's as a leader, a man, business owner, father, husband, insert whatever area of life you walk in daily.
Yeah.
We hope to refine you more and more as we've done throughout our lives. So really excited about it. That will be on September 5th.
Yep.
From 0700 to 0700 the next day.
Saturday. So all day Saturday going into Sunday morning.
Yep.
Application is open now, though.
Yes.
Don't wait to sign up because we're taking applications now and we're going to start selecting our participants based on those applications.
Yep. So looking forward to that, guys. So check out Unbreakable Purpose, September 5th of 26. Before we dive into the recording today, though, we want to give a very special thank you and shout out to all of our sponsors and supporters of this channel here at Suffer Up. First and foremost, it's going to be Soft Socks. We don't have them on today because we're in sandals. It's Florida.
It's hot.
It's hot, so we try to keep our feet cool. Did you know that keeping your feet cool, face cool, and hands cool, you'll keep the rest of your body pretty cool?
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
A lot of people put like ice on their wrists and stuff.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
It's the radiators of the body. So
yeah.
Keep your feet cool. Don't wear socks unless you have to. But when you have to, put on a pair of soft socks. Soft socks makes a compression fitting toe sock for your feet, creating an individual sock for every single toe that'll help prevent blisters. And they are podiatrist approved. Toe socks, if you aren't following the running community, are becoming they're not new, but they're becoming more and more trendy.
Mm-hmm.
Not just trendy, but also they're very, very good for your feet.
And functional.
I'm nerding out on toe health right now, which we can talk about on a later episode. But check out Soft Socks. We got a discount code for you. Suffer10 to receive 10% off at checkout. And the next that we have on the lineup is 55 miles. So
yeah.
They make blister blocker, chapstick, UV protectant cream, as well as anti-chafing cream. I have been using it quite religiously, and I have yet to have any serious chafing issues since using it.
Yeah.
And it's hotter than Hades right now, and I sweat a ton. So check out 55 Miles. We also have a discount code for them, and that is Suffer Up, and you'll receive 20% off at checkout. And the last but not least, Muckenders wipes and towels. We got on video. We should have brought this stuff in.
No,
but that's okay.
Next
one, we'll set it up. But Muckenders, it's in the name. End of the muck.
Get an end.
Yes. They make a large towelette.
Yeah.
It's good ingredients.
I love that all three of our sponsors work well together.
Yes.
Like before you put on your pair of soft socks, you put some 55 Miles lubricant on.
Yep.
Then you put your soft socks on. And then after your run or when you need to do a sock change mid-run, you use the Muckenders and you wipe all the nastiness away. Even the 55 Miles has to get wiped off so you can reapply and put new socks on and roll again.
Yeah.
This is like foot 101.
Yeah. We pretty much have all of our supporters are taking care of your feet.
Yeah.
Feet and your tender bits, if you will.
Next up, we're going to be on, what's that app where people sell feet pics?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, we're not going to say it. Anyway, yeah. So we want to take care of your feet so that you can continue to have longevity in the sport of running.
Yeah.
If you're not a runner, that's fine. If you're a hardworking person out in the sun,
It works for that
this
too.
stuff is great for that as well. My wife used 55 miles while we were at Disney because, it's
There's
hot.
a lot of walking.
There's a ton of walking. So we use the blister blocker, we use the UV, and we use the anti-chafing stuff while we're at Disney. So
if you want to keep posting pictures on Only Feet,
yeah. Yeah, go ahead and get you some muck enders, soft socks, and 55 miles. So discount code for muck enders is Suffer Up. So
Suffer Up.
That's it. Thank you to all of our supporters and sponsors of the channel here, and we're so grateful for your support. So today, we're going to open up the topic of fear.
Fear.
Yep.
Facing fear. Yeah. So this topic came up because I get asked this question a lot when I start talking about what I used to do for work. And it just happened again last Friday. I was on a fishing trip and somebody asked me, what I did in the Navy. And I told them I was a rescue swimmer. And the first question, it's not how many saves did you get? Or, I don't know. It's always funny to me because they always ask the same question. It's, oh, aren't you afraid of sharks? I'm like, man, honestly, I mean, I don't want to be in the water with sharks, but honestly, I never really thought about it at the moment. And we're going to dive into why that is today.
Yeah.
And so the first thing that I would say is that your purpose, your mission will override any fear that you've got. And there's some reasons to that we'll get into. Nate, my notes died.
No, that's fine. Yeah. So the topic of fear is it's one of those things where, oftentimes fear can be just as like an opening statement before we kind of follow our outline that we have here. Fear is one of those things that can oftentimes overcome somebody that will ultimately inhibit their next action or their next decision or whatever it is. We'll talk about some scriptural things when it comes to fear as well, what the Bible says about fear. Now, there's really kind of a couple different ways you can look at fear high level before we hit the notes. You could be scared or fearful of something, but you can also have a sovereign or reverence fear of God, which would be essentially you have the utmost respect or fear of God being the most powerful being, right? And that's just a level of just sovereignty, respect, and admonishment of who God is. And it is healthy to fear in that way. We will kind of touch on that, but one of the biggest things we're talking about today is just the concept of being scared, being fearful of something. So I think we could probably talk for a few hours on what the fear of God actually is.
Yeah,
and totally different topic, but just wanted to lay that out there.
So this is your normal worldly fear. And it's important to know that fear is a normal response. It's a completely normal thing. Fear isn't weakness. Fear is a God-given emotion that's designed to protect you, really. And as that, it's something that we're all going to feel. Even the most brave or courageous people you can think of still feel the fear or that emotion of fear from time to time. So being brave or courageous isn't even a absence of fear. It's more so doing the thing that scares you anyways. And so the problem isn't feeling fear. That's what we want to make clear. It's not, you're not weak or unworthy of your job or your task or whatever, just because you're feeling fear. The problem is actually letting fear make your decisions. If fear is what's guiding you and fear is what's stopping you from doing something that you're supposed to do or that you need to do, then that's the issue. So how do we work past that? Well, you have a purpose. You have a mission, and the mission will override your fear, ideally. That's the goal.
100%. Slight sidebar that came to mind just now was, have you seen the documentary with Alex Honnold, the free climber, solo climber?
I don't think I have.
Okay. Well, I've seen both of them, so I'll just touch on this. They did a scan of his head and of his brain. And he is of the 0.01% of the population. where his amygdala, the portion of the brain that controls fear,
Mm-hmm.
is essentially, it's not that it's not there. It just has a super high intolerance to fear itself. And so he then does these super dangerous but highly calculated things because that portion of his brain just kind of is offline for most things. So
That's crazy.
him climbing or scaling a tower, like he did a skyscraper in China or somewhere.
El Capitan.
Yeah, and then
all
doing
those
El
big
Cap
places.
without any rope or anything.
Yeah.
That doesn't scare him. But he admits in one of his documentaries that like being around certain people or certain environments scares him. So like there's other like aspects to fear there.
Mhm.
And so everybody's fear level or fear tolerance is higher, but
Yeah.
fear is in place to keep you safe from areas of discomfort.
Yeah.
And so, however, tapping into those areas and still like exploiting them can also be a healthy thing because you're stimulating that part of your brain.
Yeah. I mean, while we're on that topic, like fear can also be in place due to past experiences or traumas,
Mhm.
call it. So like you may have a intense fear of losing your family because you lost a parent when you were young or something
Sure.
like that. So fear is not exclusive to heights and sharks and spiders.
Yeah, right.
It can be a number of things. And yeah, that's a good point that like everybody's level is different and everybody's thing is different.
Yeah.
You know, for a lot of people, it's the same thing of sharks, but there's another fear probably in their life that's different from other people's.
Yeah.
And that's what'll cause anxiety. And if you let that fear take hold, then that's when you start spiraling down the rabbit holes of anxiety and depression. And
Yeah.
you end up not fulfilling your purpose and not completing the mission that is set out before you.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's so true. But yeah, fear is healthy. It's good to have a level of fear. And honestly,
and normal.
and yeah, normal, like that adrenaline, that cortisol, that dopamine hit that happens in a stressful situation can also help you perform at a higher level too.
Yeah.
I know that there's been moments in my life where I have been in high pressure scenarios, and that pressure, like you feel your heart rate go up, like you don't want to fail, and you're fearful of essentially failing in evolution or something.
Yeah.
And then you crush it because you have this heightened sense of awareness. So like when you get that fear stimulus, channel that energy into positive outcomes. And in those moments, I oftentimes just do a lot of like self-positive talk, like, okay, we're gonna crush this. I've done this before. Even if I haven't done it before, I have the principles and the groundwork laid out. So
I love that.
So yeah, use the fear and channel it and make it a positive thing. But in that, I just essentially outlined what mission will kind of change your focus on that.
Yeah.
Which is our point number 2. But
yeah, so like when I was gonna jump into the water and save somebody or doing training for that, the thought never even really crossed my mind about sharks. And if it did, it was immediately overridden by the fact that like, hey, your mission is to go get in the water and save somebody. And it doesn't matter what else is going on. I mean, you can give yourself, you can like talk up excuses in your mind. Like, I do remember one time it was late at night and we were jumping in and I don't know, the thought of a shark did cross my mind. I'm like, nah, the helicopter will scare him away. And like you give yourself a way out of that thought, that scary thought. And that's perfectly fine. But the point is the mission is what came first. So the helicopter's going to scare him away. I'm going to scare him away. I don't really care if I get eaten. I mean, like whatever you need to tell yourself to get in the water to override that fear, because the mission's got to come first. You got to get in there and do your job. Yeah. And in this case, save people, just like being a firefighter. Like you got to go in and save somebody. And maybe saving somebody else's life isn't the mission at task for or at hand for you. But regardless, your fear is probably not a life or death fear either.
Right.
I mean, people that are scared of spiders, not every spider is a black widow. It's not. It's not going to kill you. So, you can protect your house and squash the spider.
Yep, exactly.
It will be okay.
The other thing too to kind of consider is that's a lot of what ifs. Like you're jumping into the water, like using your shark scenario, right?
Yeah.
You're jumping into the water because you have a victim, you've got a distressed watercraft, whatever the situation is. The shark is a what if. Like
100%.
that's not even that's like when you jump into the water, you could think about sharks, you could think about undertows, you could think about, Davy Jones getting sucked down by the ocean because of a black hole whirlpool.
I hadn't thought about that yet.
You could think of like there's sea anemones, jellyfish, you could what if it all day long.
Absolutely.
You could have the Loch Ness monster.
But there's some
That's
facts.
a what if.
Yeah.
But there's statistically, like what are the chances?
Yeah.
So why not get in the water, start your process, and then when the shark presents itself, okay, now you can be concerned of a shark.
Yeah.
But until the shark appears, there's no reason to be fearful of it because you don't even know if he's there.
True.
So why are we creating fears in our head? It's rhetorical, of course, because I know it's a real fear, but why are you creating? That'd be like me saying, I'm never going to the beach and playing in the water because there's a chance there could be a shark.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, I'm not a huge fan of heights, oddly enough.
Yeah.
I dangle out of a helicopter at hundreds of feet, but I don't really like being on top of a roof.
Yeah.
And maybe it just has to do with like being strapped in versus not.
Sure.
But the fear of heights that anybody has, it is ultimately a fear of falling and getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the height that scares them. It's what happens if they fall.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you could fall off the roof and break your neck. Yeah. Or you could just continue standing on the roof and get down the ladder the same way you came up.
Right.
Like, why you got to fall?
What's the difference?
And so it's just, you're right. It's a big what if, and there's facts in all these what ifs that will kind of override it. Like the rescue swimmer situation. Like, fact is there's somebody in the water that needs help. The fact is you're here to save them. You're trained to save them. You have the tools and equipment and the means to save them.
Mm-hmm.
So use all those facts to help you get over the fear.
Yeah.
And that kind of rolls us into the next point that
preparation
we want to talk about, and that's being prepared or training.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you go into a scenario or a situation and you're prepared,
mm-hmm.
you already know that you've been exposed or you've been stimulated by this fearful evolution. Like, you know that you can handle it. So that should ultimately decrease your level of fear to some respect. And or you could also have the opposite of like, I've been in this situation before. It was a little hairy last time. So I'm going to take extra precautions to make sure it's less hairy.
Yeah.
Less sketchy.
Different.
Yeah, 100%. But preparing not only your brain and your mind to be able to overcome the task, but also your hands, feet, and your body to be able to adapt and overcome in whatever said situation that is. So, for instance, an example that came up fairly recently was we were talking about one of the new guys had to get up in front of 4 guys and give a small presentation
mm-hmm.
at work. You could see it in his eyes. He was scared about getting up in front of people and talking. Well, then he gave the presentation, did a fine job. But then afterwards, I was like, why were you, like, you were nervous? Why were you nervous? It's just the 4 of us. You've been with us like the last 24 hours. Why was that an issue?
Yeah.
He's like, well, I don't know. I said, you were fearful of like the potential rhetoric afterwards of us giving you a hard time.
We're going to make fun of you either way.
We're going to make fun of you either way. Like, that's part of being in the fire service. But because he was fearful of that, I'm like, have you done this before? He's like, yeah. I said, but you've never done it in a firehouse because you're brand new. He's like, well, yeah. I said, so you could have I've done this before. I'm just now doing it in a different environment.
Yeah.
And just ruling that, like pushing all those other stimuluses out and just deal with the objective at hand.
Yeah.
Knowing that you've prepared for this moment, own the space that you're in, be confident with it, and then just move on.
It's like you were saying, I mean, even if you've never done something before, you've got applied principles from other areas of your life that you can apply to this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to work out.
Yeah, 100%.
It's going to.
Yeah. And the same thing, like we have a paramedic at my station that's getting checked off. I think he has this exit interview today, actually, with the medical director. And he, I was running through some practice questions. Like I've been through 2 or 3 exit interviews doing the same thing he's done,
mm-hmm.
different organizations. And, I give him a very basic scenario, and he's like, when he would answer correctly, but he would answer in a way of like a slight hesitation.
Like uncertainty.
Uncertainty. So I would just kind of like look at him and turn my head and not say anything, but that immediately instilled fear. Like you could see it overcome him. And
second guessing it.
The whole lesson that I gave him was like, you got to own the space you're in. If you don't own the space you're in and push, I can tell you're nervous, or I'll say fearful. It's a sense of fear.
Mm-hmm.
You're nervous in this situation. You own that room. You're there to show him how much you know. So go in, own it, because you gave me the right answers, but you were extremely unsure of yourself.
Yeah.
You don't need his reassurance because he's not going to be there on that bad call. You know, you've had the training, you've been training for over a year to do this. Now just apply it. And so he's prepared for over a year for this moment right now to pass his paramedic so that he can be on the field and on the streets operating alone. He's prepared all this time. Why are you going to let one 30-minute meeting define a year's worth of preparation?
Yep.
So you can apply that anywhere. Are you going in for a new job interview? Are you going in for a promotion and you got to give a presentation? My advice is own the space that you're in and go do the thing and just enjoy it because you've worked so hard for that one moment.
Yep.
And so own the space. You control that environment, not the other people. And then just do the thing.
Yeah. Training is not going to remove the fear.
Yeah.
It's just going to reduce the uncertainty that you have with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to give you that confidence to own it, like you're saying.
Yep.
People have fear in all sorts of aspects of their life. I mean, we're talking about, higher pressure scenarios, but it could be fear to start a business, fear to lead your family, fear to share your faith with someone else.
Yeah.
And all those things are simple things that aren't life or death. Maybe not so simple, but in terms of risk, they're low risk.
Very.
But we're afraid to do it. And those underlying fears are not going to be removed ever. But the only way to get better at it is by doing it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're nervous to share your faith with somebody, start sharing your faith with one person at a time.
Yeah.
And then, maybe one day you'll be standing in front of a firehouse talking to 4 or 5 dudes and feel confident to share your faith to all of them. I mean, you just never know until you start. So you really gotta just go for it.
Yeah.
There is another fear here that I want to bring up, and that's like the fear of things that are outside of your control. Pretty much everything we talked about now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sharks are outside of your control, but what I mean is things are going to go wrong, and it's okay to be afraid after that happens. I'll just get into my example here because it'll make more sense. Best friend of mine in the Navy was flying around the ship, and they lost an engine. They had like a loud noise. I don't remember what went wrong, but something happened. They lost an engine. They went down to single engine. Well, they can't land back on the ship like that, or it's not preferred, I should say. And we were close enough to land like 100 miles or something that they were going to just fly it back to land and land at a runway. And so they do that. They start heading back, but 100 miles is going to take some time. And so he's flying for 30 minutes, for an hour and a half. And the whole time he's scared that the other engine's going to go out and they're going to end up in the water upside down. And, that's a completely reasonable fear, especially when you've already lost one engine. And what I mean by outside of your control is like they pre-flight the aircraft. Maintenance had done their checkoffs. Like everybody had done everything they were supposed to. And somehow the engine still failed.
Sure.
Something happened. It went bad. So nobody did anything wrong, but it still happened. You could be driving home today and your tire decides to explode and then you wreck your car. Like things are going to happen that are completely outside of your control that you didn't even know you were afraid of until it happens.
Right.
Well, how do you move past that? How did he get back in the aircraft after this scenario and not just be so petrified with fear that he's going to lose an engine every time the aircraft goes up? I think the only real answer here that's going to get you anywhere is your faith in God.
Yeah.
You have faith that your life is in his hands. Everything you do is already mapped out. He has a plan for you. And, if you're supposed to lose an engine today, you're going to lose an engine. If you're supposed to lose both engines and go in the water today, then it's going to happen.
Yeah. And
at some point, you've got to just accept that things are out of your control, but they're in control by the one who controls everything.
Right.
And that is reason enough to continue forward and not be fearful.
Yeah. No, that's good. I teach a small class. It's about 45 minutes long at, I've taught it probably a handful of times now, and I might teach a portion of this class at Unbreakable Purpose, but I have at the beginning of the class, everybody writes down their biggest fear or biggest hurdle or obstacle that they feel that's in life for them, whatever that is. And then on the back of the card, I have them write, what are you doing right now to mitigate that fear? And most of the time, the back of the card is blank. So they have a fear, but they don't have a solution to that fear.
Okay.
And a majority of the fears that are written down on that card are death of either family or themselves. And then I open up and I share my faith with that topic in mind of like, I'm not afraid to die. So like, how can you hurt a man that's not afraid to die? Like, I'm essentially invincible in that way. Like, okay, if you kill me, I still won. Like, you know what I mean? If I'm in battle and you kill me, I still won. So like, how does that, like, at what point is that? Yeah. If you could gain, the Bible says you could gain the whole world, but to die is gain. Like, I could have all the riches in the world, but then if I die, I've still gained everything. You know what I mean? So with all of that in mind too, like if I die, like I've literally I've won. So with all of that in mind, like your faith, my faith stands that gap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I mean, just trusting that God has that plan for you and has all the unknowns mapped out already, all the things that you can't control. He's got all that figured out already is so powerful. I mean, you think of like Joshua 1:9, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go.
mm-hmm.
I mean, that verse right there speaks right to it. He is with you wherever you go. And because you know that, then you can be strong and courageous.
Yeah.
It's all one verse for a reason. It all goes together. You can't be strong and courageous without knowing that he's with you. And so for the unknowns out there, again, it's normal to be fearful. It's normal to feel that. It's a God-given emotion. It is okay. But the faith and trust that you put in him should override that fear every single time, because he's bigger than any fear or anything that we can come up with here.
Yep. That's very true. I want to clarify something that I said. I took two passages of scripture and kind of combined them. I mushed them together, but the principles still apply. So I just want to clarify. In Matthew chapter 16, we'll start at verse 25. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profiteth if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with the angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his works. Verily I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall say, not taste of death, till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. So I took another passage of scripture.
The other one you took is to live as Christ and to die as gain.
Correct. So, but the principle still applies. Like, you could gain all the riches and wealth of this world, but if I die and go to heaven, or when I die and go to heaven, I have gained everything there is to gain. That's essentially what I was trying to say.
That's another good point. We were talking about how so many of these fears in our minds are ifs. Well, death isn't an if; it's a win.
Yeah.
And so, like, there should be no fear with that, because you know it's going to happen. So you should know what's going to happen to you when you die. Where are you going to go?
Yeah.
What's it going to be like? All the answers are in the Bible.
Yep.
Give it a read through, and you'll find out exactly where you're going to go. It's dependent on you. It's dependent on what you believe and who you put your faith in.
Yep.
But there's only two options.
Mm-hmm.
So, 50-50 chance. Pick the right one.
100%. Yeah. No, it's true. But what are you doing right now in your life that is going to impact your legacy that you leave behind? And you should have assurance in that. Like the Bible says, I've fought the good fight and all of that. And like, he ends his life of like, I've ran the race, I've done the good fight, and now I'm on my way to heaven, like I'm heaven bound. So
to be clear, it's not a 50-50 chance where you go. It's there's two options, and it's 100% chance
Yeah,
where you
I knew what
go.
you meant. Yeah.
Just to clarify, 100% chance depending on what you do here, who you believe.
Mm-hmm.
You will 100% go one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
100%.
Another good one that another good Bible verse that I thought of was 2 Timothy 1:7. It says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and self-control.
Yeah.
So fear is that emotion
Mm-hmm.
that is God-given. All the feelings that we feel are God-given, but he hasn't given us a spirit of fear. Our spirit is courageous and filled with him. Like, we trust in him fully, and that gives you hope, and it just renews your strength, like the Bible says. So power and love and self-control is what he has given us. So don't take that fear as your identity.
Mm-hmm.
Don't accept that as who you are on a spiritual level. Accept that as a feeling, as an emotion. Just like happiness, you can be happy in a moment, you can be sad in a moment. All these things are fleeting emotions.
Yeah.
Who you actually are is determined by far more than that emotion.
Yeah.
So take on a spirit of power, love, and self-control.
I do want to just put a sense of guardianship on the slight topic just for a brief second. You should not base decisions off of emotions. Like, the emotion, like God says that we should mourn, we should weep, we should have a healthy sense of fear. We should have all these emotions, if you will, but don't make decisions based off of emotion. I think a lot of times in Christian circles, we can let our emotions rule and dictate our lives.
Yeah.
Base your decisions off of sound principles and understand the concepts of what we're talking about, and then apply them. Because if I'm tired, that's a physical emotion, but I'm fatigued, I'm upset, I'm sad, whatever, and I let that rule and dictate what I'm going to do for the day. I don't think that's healthy, and I don't think that's God inspired. So,
No.
Although the emotions are real, in the lieu of anger, anger. Yes, the Bible says that Jesus was angry in certain situations. His anger was a just anger.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself angry, is your anger justified? Are you truly angry that is justified by God? Would God be angry in this situation? And that's a whole nother topic that we can, I actually wouldn't mind talking about that because I'm a little passionate about it, but, just be careful with emotions and don't let those rule, because some emotions aren't necessarily God inspired, but they should be filtered with scripture, if that makes sense.
Yeah, don't let emotions
Rule and dictate.
Decisions.
Yeah,
it's good way of putting it. And the last Bible verse I wanted to read was Psalm 56:3. Says, "When I'm afraid, I put my trust in you." That is the simplest way of putting it. All the things that are outside of our control are outside of our control. When you're afraid, put your trust in the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I also love this verse because so David wrote this, and he didn't say, if you are afraid, put your trust in the Lord. It says, when. So it's just like dying. It's a guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
You will be afraid.
Yeah.
Just like the other emotions that you were just talking about, you will experience all those emotions. Well, what are you going to do when that happens? Because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
When. Yeah.
So anyways, what you got for our listeners, Nate?
Yeah. So just a few quick discussion questions here. And the first one here, I can kind of answer as well, because it's fairly recent. What was going through your mind during a rescue? Recently, we had a house fire where we had confirmed entrapment, and all of these things were kind of playing out. We had a bystander saying it was, they're located in this location. That ended up being wrong, which 80% of the time they're so adrenaline dumped, they don't even know where their own family member is.
Yikes.
Yeah. So anyway, super high heat, very low visibility, didn't have a hose line in place at the time. It was behind me, but I was the first one in the door. And having been in several high heat, low visibility scenarios, each time where the line is that you can push because of applying all these principles. Preparation creates confidence, right? So I had prepared for moments like that. I knew how to search. I knew how to locate fire. I knew how to take the heat. And honestly, you insert Nate, myself, in that scenario 8 years ago, I would not have been able to do what I did on that day looking for her. And because I didn't have the experience or preparation for that specific moment, and I didn't know what I could take or handle. And so you could take a brand new fireman and he watches the actions and feels the stimulus that I was feeling in that situation. I mean, I don't want to sound like as though it was some heroic thing. I'm just using it as an example, but they should be scared out of their mind of that moment because like impending heat that's just excruciatingly painful. But I had a mission in mind.
If you're being honest, you were afraid.
But in the moment, I was not. That's what I'm saying. Like in that moment when I was in the house, not once did I have a moment of like, I'm scared. I don't know where I'm at. I've accepted of like, it's okay if I don't know where I'm at because I've trained to a level of like, if I get lost in a 1,500 square foot home, I know if I crawl in one direction for long enough, I'm going to eventually find an exterior wall and I can get out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like until I get to where I'm truly pinned to the ground and I can't hear anybody, I could hear somebody nearby. So I knew like, okay, I'm okay. This, that, and the other. There's little mental checkpoints that you go through in those processes of like, okay, I know there's a guy over here. I can hear him. So that tells me he's not too far away. And then like you feel a window. Okay, that's like a sense of relief. Yep, there's a window right there. If things get hairy, I'm going back to that point. And you move on. You go to the door frame. Okay, well, here's a safe haven. Here's another room that's away from the fire. If things get hairy, I'm going here now instead of that window back there.
Mm-hmm.
So you've created these pathways. But anyway, we ended up searching for this lady for a long time. When I look back at my watch, your heart rate can oftentimes be like an idea of your level of stress, like Dr. Grossman talks about it.
Yeah.
Not once did my heart rate get above 148 beats a minute on that fire. So I was basically doing a zone 2 workout at a high intensity. But I really think it's because of the preparation and the training prior to. So what should have been a fearful scenario, and early on in my career, yeah, I'd say that I was fearful of that because I had never been exposed to it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been exposed to these stimuluses constantly. You can overcome that fear. And so, yeah, that's what's going through my mind during like a rescue scenario in that situation of like fearful. But yeah, to answer that question.
So
How about
fear's
you?
still there, but it's overridden.
Yeah, it's overridden.
Yeah.
Like I'll allow myself to be scared when it's time to be scared. But I mean, it's like you're controlling the emotion at that point.
Yeah, you are in control of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like that verse in 2 Timothy said, self-control.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is. You're in control.
Because fear is not going to help me in this scenario.
No.
Because it just makes everything worse.
Yeah.
So why be scared? Just work through the problem.
Yep. Problem solving.
Yeah.
So we'll leave you with this question, listeners, of what fear have you guys been staring at, or what fear's been staring at you that's causing you to lose sight of your mission? What is holding you back from your purpose? And how are you going to work towards defeating that fear or moving past that fear? What are you going to write on the back of your card?
Yeah.
Like Nate described in his scenario that he talks about. You know, what are you doing about it? We all have fears, but what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
What's up?
You were going to say something?
Nope.
Oh.
No, you were rock and rolling.
Oh.
No, you're good.
Just to reiterate, like fear isn't about becoming fearless. You know, the presence of fear will always be there, but it's about finding your purpose that's bigger than the fear, or your mission that's bigger than the fear. You're never going to get rid of that emotion. It just has to be controlled long enough to fulfill your purpose and mission.
That's it. Don't let fear rule your life. Just do the thing that's scary. And I encourage people to do something that's hard or scary for you every once in a while and stimulate that part of your brain so that you can get used to it. Because think about this, like if your greatest fear is somebody snatching up and taking your kids, well, why are you playing Xbox and sitting on your keister getting fat? Why aren't you out there doing 40-meter sprints or something? You know,
There you go.
why aren't you involved in some sort of like jujitsu or Muay Thai or something? Like, what are you doing to alleviate that? I'm just using that as an example of that fear right there of somebody snatching up your kids. And if you're fearful of that, what are you doing to mitigate it? Are you just going to wallow in your fear and pity?
Yeah.
Just like, man, we're not going to go outside. We're not going to go to this place because of that, whatever, you know, I mean,
a good one that I've heard before, like, are you afraid that your kid's going to end up just like you?
yeah,
That's
scary.
Be somebody worth your kid ending up like.
Mm-hmm.
You're afraid they're going to turn out just like you?
Fix it.
Why don't you be somebody worth turning out like?
Yeah. 100%.
It's not that complicated. It's just a matter of putting your feet to the ground and doing the thing.
Yeah. That's it.
So
yeah, big takeaways, guys. Fears, I mean, it's a big topic. It's okay to be fearful. And I see like, oh, I'm scared in the situation. That's now an opportunity for me to train that part of my life. And you can't kill a man who's not afraid of dying. I mean, that's pretty big right there.
Yeah.
So
fear's always going to try and make whatever obstacle it is look bigger than your mission. So it's up to you to control that and remind yourself, teach yourself, train yourself that the mission or the purpose behind what you're doing is bigger than that obstacle.
100%. I like it. Thanks for tuning in, guys, to this episode of the Suffer Up Podcast with Nate and Ryan. Check out Unbreakable Purpose, September 5th, 2026. We need you to apply. So if you're remotely interested, apply. We've only got 16 spots. So
do the action.
If you've got a hurt foot or you got an excuse why you can't go, then just do us a favor and send it to somebody who doesn't have any excuses and can go. We'll address the topic of fear there.
And somebody who's not a wimp.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to be clear on that, like, I know we talk about intense stuff, and like, this is not a course where it's so just horrifically hard. Like, it's not. Will you be challenged physically? Yeah.
We're not going to ask you to run an ultramarathon.
Yeah, it's not that. Like, I'd be shocked if you, okay, just for comparison's sake, at Disney, my wife walked at Disney 11 miles in one day. Okay. My wife does not run.
Yeah.
She runs a little bit and she does a great job and she works out and exercises. That's awesome. She's not an ultramarathon girl, but she will walk 11 miles at Disney. And so if my wife can walk 11 miles at Disney, you can come to Unbreakable Purpose and do just fine. So, there's nothing super crazily hard with it. However, we're going to give you a space to push yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually. So it should be challenging. It should be a good time.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing what you'll do to see a little mouse.
Yeah, called the mousetrap.
The mousetrap.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, guys, to this episode of the Suffer Up Podcast. Tune in every week, every Monday for a new episode. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube for all the updates and happenings there. We love you all. Stay after it. And as always,
suffer up.